For a long time, I wondered where it was best to place helper functions within Swift projects. Here are some of the options and why you might use them in your project. So you might place a function within a struct, something like this. This is quite a silly example of a person with a struct with member-wise initializer, and you have this formatted person function here. It's not ideal because I don't think you should be accessing that function from outside this class. It should really be internal to the structure. Another option is to use global scope. Print this item is not within any class or struct. Now that means it's available throughout the project. This can cause namespacing problems. If anything else is called print this, then which function do you mean to use? And this example isn't especially great because for most circumstances, you don't want to have something at the global namespace. So you would think very carefully about doing this because you're likely to get collisions and likely to not know which functions you have declared and why. You'd need to have a special reason to do so. Swift's extensions allow us to, extend Swift's classes and data types. So a very sensible place to store conversion functions like Celsius to Fahrenheit and Fahrenheit to Celsius is within the extension. So this is an extension on double, which means we can access it through code like this, where we've got a double and then we access the function directly through the double. It keeps the code together and can be accessed throughout the project potentially. I do favor using structs to classes in Swift, but often I find myself using classes and I find making functions static on those classes really very useful, and this is a common technique I use to make these reusable functions. So I've created a class to draw an arc. You can just display an arc on the screen with a predefined angle, and I've created a function that works with radians, which makes sense because UI Bezier path automatically uses radians. And I've got one to try to make it easier for developers that uses degrees. And I might not be happy with this and delete this function, but then my programmers might not be happy using the radians function. They want to convert from degrees to radians. So a good place to do that is to help them out with a static function that converts from degrees to radians. Internally, we can use that with a call like this, and actually we can do the same from outside the class. So this function is reusable and it's also related to this code. So I would say my go-to for having reusable functions is within a class and have those functions statically defined. It may not work for all cases. You really have to consider what you're doing and why, but I'm just telling you that's my go-to. And as ever, you should really be careful of those YouTubers who say some coding convention or what they do, and then immediately after tell you to like and subscribe. So I'll see you next time, perhaps. Thank you.